Alright, hello everyone, welcome back. Today, we are back with the new Boruto chapter. I'm a little late on this because I got caught up watching Evo, but regardless, we're back. I'm gonna do this very differently than usual. I'm just gonna go through some of my favorite points of the chapter, and then maybe later on in a different video, we'll come back through and do a deeper dive into it. But for right now, I'm just gonna do kind of the highlights of it because I am kind of busy. Like I said, I got caught up watching Evo, so I have other stuff I need to do now, and yeah, so blame Evo for all this. But anyways, go watch Evo. It's been fun. I think finals, by the time this video should be uploaded, it'll be finals day, so you can catch that. But anyways, let's get into this. To start off with, we have the title page. Pretty cool cover. We got Sumari, or Sumurai, the class rep, whatever you want to call her. Pretty cool cover page. I've seen people making some theories about this cover page that I don't really believe. I feel like they're kind of stretching it, but that's a topic for another day. Cool cover page. I like the background with like the blue flowers and stuff. Kind of confused why she got the cover page for this chapter, but oh well, it doesn't really matter. So basically this chapter is just Boruto confronting Hidari and their ensuing fight. But I think the best part of this chapter is we get to see the duo of Boruto, Otosuki, and Sarada Uchiha show off. These two completely took over the chapter with their teamwork and the way that they show that they can work together. And actually, they came out beating Hidari pretty cleanly, which is crazy. I did not think Hidari was going to go down as easily, but he did. We got to see Boruto show off some different techniques, such as the wind style. Here, he's using wind style breakthrough, which is a technique that Mitsuki and Orochimaru use. When the leaks first came out, I honestly thought this was going to be wind style gale palm, which is what Boruto uses usually. It's what he used to he uses it a lot in the anime, and he uses it in the manga to kind of get Naruto away from him when he was going to have Kawaki kill him. So I thought that's what it was, but it's actually breakthrough. Still cool regardless. I know some people are saying that maybe because he uses breakthrough, that it could be a sign that Orochimaru was someone who may have taught him as well during the time skip. I don't know. It could just be that they decided to have him use breakthrough instead of gale palm. You never know with the writers. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. He uses that to get Hidari off of him. Kawaki and Delta in this chapter, very kind of a weird role that they play, especially Delta, because they ended up spending the first part of the chapter just watching over Jura, who's just standing out in the middle of nowhere, since he just got left there after Boruto grabbed Himawari and then used the flying Raijin to teleport back to Hidari. So those two really didn't do much at the beginning. And then we have Boruto kind of explaining a little bit about what's going on. He kind of gets a rundown of the situation that Hidari is after Sarada, and that Hidari wants to devour Sarada. Sarada asks Boruto that, isn't this guy related to my dad because of the whole tree thing? And then Konohamaru is also confused because he's saying, wait, the tree thing, you mean the same thing that happened to Mogi, his comrade? And then Boruto, this is really weird to me, but Boruto's been doing this the entire time skip, and he's continuing it now, where he's not giving anyone any information. He's just giving them the bare minimum, and even then, it's not always that he's giving people more than just the bare minimum. Here he does say, though, that by taking down Hidari, that they would be able to save Sasuke. And Konohamaru even, like, brings this up, like, how do you have all this info, Boruto? And Boruto just completely blows them off and just says, focus on the current task at hand, or you're gonna die, Konohamaru. Which, kind of rude, I'm not gonna lie. And then Hidari had placed down a crap ton of claw marks. They had a bunch of clawgrams come through. Boruto ends up flying through them, slashing them all with his sword. Sarada manages to get a few blows in on some of them, but when she goes to kick one of the clawgrams, Hidari actually emerges from one of the clawgrams to catch Sarada in the middle of her attack. And Boruto once again uses Flying Raijin. He throws a shuriken into the back of a claw grind and then teleports to it immediately, and then unleashes a Rasengan right into Hidari's back. And he blows off like a good chunk of his body here. Like, look at this right down here. He absolutely demolishes Hidari here. And Hidari teleports through a claw mark, and he goes back to a different dimension where he ends up getting healed. Completely heals off all the damage done that Boruto did, and reemerges once again, ready to fight once more. So very interesting that they showed how that they're able to just teleport away and heal like that. Very interesting to me. I thought that when they healed, they would just kind of heal like on the spot, but maybe they do have that ability. But for like deeper marks like what Boruto just did to Hidari, it requires them to go ahead and teleport away and get this weird healing from a tree. Maybe it's like a 10-tailed part of the 10 tails. I don't know. But regardless, Hidari comes back. He drops a crap ton more claw marks everywhere, and then proceeds to go back into them, and is basically just waiting to make his move. And while this is happening, Boruto says to Sarada, "I'm gonna end this in one blow." He's going to once again use the Uzuhiko Rasengan, but this time at a power much stronger than what he did against Code. He says he's going to use it at maximum output. But then he also says that it has no limit. So if there's no limit, why is there an maximum output? I think what he means by the maximum output is like the most that he's going to be able to muster himself. Because maybe while the Uzuhiko has no limit, in theory, Boruto is only able to use so much because it uses the planet's like rotation and orbit. So there's only so much he could use, but in theory, he could use more if there was more like rotation or orbit. So it's the planet's chakra that has a limit, not the move itself. At least that's the way I'm taking it. But Boruto reveals a very interesting like aspect of the Uzuhiko move, and that is that Boruto has to stay on the ground because he has to absorb the chakra through both of his feet. So he can't use the move when he can't charge up the move while he's moving it, I guess. So this is very interesting because while this move is extremely powerful, it seems like the drawback is that Boruto has to stay pretty stationary in order to use the move. So very interesting weakness that they revealed to this. So while Boruto is charging up the move, Hidari decides to make his move, and he starts to come out of one of the claw marks and unleashes a stream of lightning to try to shock both Boruto and Sarada. But then Konohamaru steps up and stops that lightning with a Rasen barrier, the same move that he revealed in the last chapter. So it's cool to see him step up and use that again. Sarada's happy to see Konohamaru do this, and then Boruto gets upset because he says to Konohamaru, "I told you to guard Himawari instead." And Konohamaru says, "Yeah, no, I'll decide what the priority is, so instead of complaining, get your technique ready." And while Boruto and Konohamaru are arguing with each other, Hidari pops out of the ground again and completely snatches up Sarada. He gets her in a tree claw, and as he starts to pull her down into the claw marks, Sarada shows off that she has new techniques as well, such as Chidori Stream, and she uses this to completely freeze up Hidari, stuns him, and then Sarada, the ninja that she is, shows that she's not completely worthless. She's not a damsel in distress. She picks up Hidari, pulls him out of the claw mark, and launches him into the air and tells Boruto, "Let's go. Are you not ready yet?" And Boruto's like, "Well, you know what? I'm not fully ready, but it's now or never." And he unleashes the new Rasengan Uzuhiko once again. And let's just say, compared to when he used it on Code, this is a completely different level of power. As you can see here in these panels, he damn near makes a tornado out of this technique. Like, look at the way the chakra is just spiraling up and just absolutely ripping apart at Hidari. It definitely gives me vibes of the Rasen Shuriken when Naruto used it against the Akatsuki member, the puppet guy. What was his name? I can't fucking remember it. But yeah, the first time Naruto used the Rasen Shuriken, it's definitely giving me vibes of that, the way it's like ripping through him and stuff. And as we see, the final result is the move wasn't completely at full power, maximum output. It was just a little bit lacking, and Hidari managed to survive with about like the top of his torso and his head. So, and his arm. He's still got one arm left. So Boruto's panicking and he's realizing that he needs to go ahead and get in there to try to stop Hidari from escaping. But then as Boruto starts to make his move, the belts on the ground disappear. The claw marks disappeared. And Boruto picked up on this. And who do we know that's able to make claw marks disappear? That's right. Kawaki shows up and slams Hidari back into the ground with his transformed arm. Kawaki used his eye to shrink all the claw marks to prevent Hidari from getting away. And with that, Kawaki delivers the final blow to Hidari, blowing him away completely with a blast from his transformed arm. And we actually get a... like, I'm not a big fan of Kawaki right now because of everything he's done, but this panel down here with him, after the blast with the whole sound effect, well, like, this is a pretty cold panel. It's a cold panel. He's got some aura. But anyways, we continue on, and we get to see something new, which is what Kashi Kojin calls a thorn soul. It's this little, like, fruit-looking, like, object here with a bunch of spikes on it and a Renegon on it. And Boruto grabs it. No one else knows what it is. Boruto grabs it, shows it to the frog, asks Kashi Kojin to confirm whether or not this is the same thing. And yeah, Koji says, yeah, it's a thorn soul bulb. And Boruto says good, but then before anything happens, Kawaki grabs him and tells Boruto to explain. And Boruto just says it's something that'll help save Sasuke, and to let me go, Kawaki, or I'm gonna cut your arm. So Boruto's not messing around. He finally has the thing he needs to save Sasuke. So Boruto's not messing around. His main goal right now is to get to Sasuke or do whatever he needs to do with this thorn soul to save him. But Kawaki says, no, you're not leaving. Who told you? Whose info is this? And then out of nowhere, Boruto just gets a laser shot right through him. It's out of nowhere, completely taken by surprise. No one saw it coming. This is the first time in the time skip we've seen Boruto get completely taken off guard like this and take damage like this. When the clones, the 10-tailed tree clones first showed up, Boruto did get into a fight with them, and he didn't really lose the fight, but he didn't win the fight either. It kind of came to a stalemate. It was obvious that Boruto was kind of getting overpowered and he had to make his escape. But this is the first time we've really seen Boruto take an injury like this. He just got shot straight through what looks to be the chest. I can't really tell exactly where he got hit. It kind of looks like he got hit like just below his sternum, but it's kind of hard to tell in the drawings. But Boruto hits the ground. He's bleeding. There's blood coming out of his mouth. No one knows what the heck just happened, but it turns out Jura, from where he was out in the wastelands, wherever he was with Himawari, he sniped Boruto with a shot from his eye, I'm assuming. He sniped them. And he says, Jura's a little upset because he did miss Boruto's vitals. But yeah, Delta says he's just sniping from out here. Like, we see this panel right here of Jura floating in the air, and you can't even see Konoha in this panel. So exactly how far is Jura sniping from? And Sarada goes to Boruto's aid, but then remembers that Boruto said that bulb was what could help save Sasuke. So Sarada runs to grab it, and then as she goes to grab it, Jura snipes Sarada. He doesn't hit her in any vital spot. He just snipes her right through the wrist in order to stop her from grabbing the thorn soul. And yeah, no one's able to stop this. It's just a quick snipe right through the wrist. It stops Sarada in her tracks, and then the Thorn Soul proceeds to fly away on its own. Seems Hidari still able to somewhat control it. I don't know how else it would have just flown away like that, unless Jura is also able to maybe use the Renegon to pull it into himself. But from that distance, I'm not sure. So maybe Jura pulled it to himself, or maybe Hidari is still able to somewhat control himself in this form and he flies away. But regardless, the Thorn Soul flies Jura, and Jura is surprised that Boruto knows what the Thorn Soul is apparently, and that Boruto is a lot more dangerous than what he thought. He says that Kawaki by himself will be enough for the Otsutsuki fodder, so I'm assuming he means Kawaki will be enough to feed for the tree, and that Boruto needs to die. And that is where the chapter ends. Very eventful chapter. A lot of good points in here. Seeing Boruto and Sarada work together though, with Konohamaru assisting though, was super dope. I'm glad we got to see that. I'm glad it didn't turn into Boruto kind of taking the whole fight himself. He got a lot of help from the others. But yeah, very interesting developments. The Thorn Soul is the most interesting aspect of the chapter, because it's a whole brand new piece of lore. We haven't seen this before in the Naruto franchise as far as I'm concerned. So it's interesting to see what it's possibly could be used for. The spikes on it and the spike on the end right here. Let me pull the panel back up. The spike right here on the end right here kind of makes me think that the way to bring people back maybe is to take the Thorn Soul to the tree that they're stuck in, and maybe just inject it right into it, and maybe that'll cause the tree to dissolve, because they call it the Thorn Soul. So maybe this fruit thing contains the soul of the person, so you need to take it to the tree and inject it into them in order to make the soul return to the person and cause the tree to dissolve. That's the way I'm kind of thinking it's gonna work. I mean that the needle on it just looks like an injector, so that just makes the most sense to me that it's something you'll need to like inject into the tree. But who knows? Maybe we'll get some answers in the next chapter. But we leave off at a very interesting point. Is Jura gonna continue the attack by himself? Is Jura gonna retreat now that Hidari has been killed? Presumably. I'm assuming that since he has the soul bulb, the Thorn Soul, that maybe he can still revive Hidari. Maybe he just needs to take Hidari to go be healed. I'd be very surprised if Hidari is just dead and gone and just stuck like that. I'd be very surprised. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be able to be revived from that Thorn Soul bulb. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Jura decides to do here. I mean, he has Boruto on the ropes. Boruto's on the ground. He's bleeding. It seems like the sniping technique of his, Jura, no one's able to stop it. So, I mean, Jura really doesn't have a reason to retreat right now. So, I don't know. Very interesting point to leave off on. It could definitely go different ways. We could have Jura retreat to save Hidari. We could have Jura continue the attack. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But overall, super good chapter. I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of the better chapters we've had this in the time skip so far. So 10 out of 10 for me. But I'm a Boruto fan, so of course I'm gonna like the chapter. But I'm very interested to see where we go in the next chapter. There's definitely a lot of different ways they can take it. I think for my wild card prediction for next chapter, I don't think it's as wild as what some of my other guesses have been, but we are getting closer and closer to Momoshiki making an appearance. I know I've been predicting it for a while now, but Momoshiki is going to be arriving soon. I did say that in chapter 12 we might get Momoshiki to appear, because I believe this is the last chapter for volume 3 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. I believe it's every 4 chapters. So I did think that we were going to get a Momoshiki cliffhanger, but we did not. We still got an extremely big cliffhanger in my opinion, because depending on what Jura does here is going to completely change the situation, because if he retreats, then, you know, all right, you know, like kind of in a neutral spot, you know, like no one died, we got some injuries, but Himawari got a power up, we got to see the Thorn Soul, so like overall kind of a, it's about as big as a win that the heroes can get right now. But if Jura continues to attack, I don't know what's gonna happen. Kawaki is not strong enough to face Jura. Delta and Kawaki together, probably combined, aren't strong enough to face Jura. I'm pretty sure Boruto himself isn't even strong enough to face Jura at this point, and Boruto is down right now with an injury. And it's just kind of building up that if Jura continues his attack, I feel like Momoshiki might end up actually coming out, not because of Boruto not being able to keep him controlled due to the damage he's taken, because Jura missed the vitals, but if he had hit those vitals, I think Momoshiki would have instantly have come out due to Boruto being so weakened. I mean, Boruto right now is on the ground bleeding, so is he weakened enough already for Momoshiki to start appearing? So I think the next chapter, I'm gonna call it again. I think we see Momoshiki. Maybe not. I don't think we'll see Momoshiki fully manifest into Boroshiki, but maybe we'll start seeing like Boruto in his mind start hearing Momoshiki, or Boruto's gonna start struggling to control Momoshiki. Maybe the karma will start to activate. So I think we're gonna get a hint of Momoshiki in the next chapter. Actually, hold on. I just thought of something. This is my wildcard prediction for next chapter. Jura's not going to continue the attack. Jura's going to go ahead and leave with the Thorn Soul to get Hidari back and make sure he doesn't end up losing the Thorn Soul. So Jura's not going to continue the attack. But Boruto's going to try to leave the Leaf Village immediately. He's going to try to leave because Boruto's worried about that injury he got is going to cause him to lose control of Momoshiki. Kawaki, knowing that Boruto has that karma weakness or the Momoshiki weakness, is going to push him. And Kawaki is going to try to get information out of Boruto, and he's going to use Momoshiki as kind of like a bargaining chip against Boruto. Because Kawaki knows that if he activates his karma, Boruto's karma activates, and Boruto freaked out the last time this happened and flew away from Kawaki. But now in this weakened state that Boruto's in, Kawaki might be able to prevent Boruto from flying away. So in order to get information out of him, Kawaki's going to threaten Boruto to either tell him how he knows all this stuff, or he'll activate his karma, causing Momoshiki to come out. So maybe we won't see Momoshiki, but I think we could see Kawaki using them as a threat to Boruto in order to get Boruto to try to reveal some information. So I think that's going to be my wildcard prediction, is that Kawaki is going to threaten Boruto with karma resonance to reveal some information in the next chapter. Whether or not that works, I don't know, because I feel like Boruto will just use Flying Raijin to get out of there instead of flying, but I think Kawaki's going to try to use that as a, to threaten Boruto with. Is it smart for Kawaki to do that? Probably not, because Kawaki's not going to be able to handle Momoshiki probably, or Boroshiki, but it's Kawaki. Kawaki doesn't think things through. But anyways, let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought of this chapter, what you guys think of my wildcard prediction, what are some wildcard predictions you guys have for next chapter, and otherwise, that'll go ahead and do it for me. So God bless, happy reading, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.